Helping animals has always given me a certain kind of pleasure and peace of mind. Having two dogs of my own, the welcome home they give me, being around them, helping them, and them helping me, I've grown in ways that would have not otherwise been possible. Being around dogs just makes me happy. It's a different kind of happiness. Imagine surrounding yourself with that much excitement and positivity. It makes you want to be a better person. If only more people wanted to understand that.
Dogs have always been a huge part of my life. Well, I cannot imagine one without them. They mean so much, whether they are in or out of my house. But what about those that are outside other people's houses, on the streets? What do they have to go through? Why are so many of them hurt and injured? Why do they become subject to people's cruel nature?
Animal cruelty has always been more of a taboo subject. I mean, who really talks about it? People know exactly what they do and how they are when they're being cruel. How do you get people to change or care? And we can't really start being kind to animals until we stop exploiting them, whether in the name of science or even fashion or sport. And we've always been taught since we were young to be kind to others. But if you can't be kind to them, at least don't hurt them.
Yes, animal cruelty does exist, and on an unimaginable scale. It persists in every society, in every community. Cruelty, inhumanity, and just plain ignorance. All we can question is why. And it goes without saying that a dog has now become a rudimentary part of almost every human life. And that is why, when we say animal cruelty in this documentary, we have mainly chosen to focus on cruelty towards the dog.
Webster's defines a dog as a highly variable domestic animal that is closely related to the grey wolf. Evolving over time, humans and dogs have bonded and even become inseparable. They are man's best friend, we say. But then we have to question, where do they come from? How do they seem to understand so much that we say? And yet, why do we mistreat them? Looking for answers and digging into the past, we have come to understand and learn a lot more about these beautiful creatures.
The old school techniques always worked with dogs working as being wolves and pack animals and alpha and omegas and the soldiers of the animals. That's how the whole hierarchy always worked. They Darwinian theories and the grey wolf, the white wolf, the proto wolf, which was the father of all wolves, all dogs. Research eventually came to show that wolves turned into dogs through adrenaline and a whole domino effect where they actually changed their physical structure, their need, their adaptability, their need to hunt, their need to smell, everything just changed and they physically turned into dogs. However, very importantly is the first time the wild touched and bonded with human. That's when evolution started, when wolves turned into dogs, when that bond happened. That bond changed them physically and mentally. So that bond could have been such a great moment when the first wolf actually came and touched the first human and took food from his hand and sat down next to the bonfire. That would have been the most beautiful moment ever, because that's where we are what we are now because of dogs. We actually are. We couldn't have done it without them. Huskies, the Saint Bernards, they helped us. I mean, they've worked with so many jobs all their lives that we are where we are. The working dogs, the terriers. There's a French dog that they almost eradicated because Italian dog that they eradicated because they found him to be vermin, just straight. But this dog actually could find truffle under the ground, which we couldn't do. So he dug up and found truffle. So we just stopped the dog and we get truffle. So he sent the dogs out, go get truffle for us. So dogs started doing small things, protecting the houses, protecting the families, moving furniture from us, getting our cattle. The whole industry changed because of dogs. And then finally, for some reason, we decided, let's stop their jobs and let's hire people and machines and equipment to do this, which we needed to do. We needed to evolve. Technology needed to go up. But the repercussions are these dogs lost their jobs. Now, if we lose our jobs and we just sit at home, what happens to us? We start getting frustrated. So dogs started getting frustrated. With all the genes of a working dog and a herding dog and a terrier dog and a gun dog and a protecting dog. So it's got the genes. All the street dogs have these genetics. And now they're becoming vermin and they're becoming a virus, and people want to get rid of them because there are no jobs available for dogs to do anymore. So now it is going to evolve again. Evolution is adapting. Adapting starts evolution, because you adapt to a new situation, you start evolving. So now what's going to happen? We don't know. We got to watch what's going to happen.
One of the major problems that India has been facing for centuries is its number of stray dogs and their attacks. From biting and attacking humans to increasing number of deaths caused by rabies, there has been a continuous and never-ending debate as to what are the viable methods to deal with this menace, as they describe it. Going back in time, we find that the British in India adopted the method of killing stray dogs to control the population. This continued through independence, with up to 50,000 dogs killed each year. In 1960, the government passed the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, which aimed to prevent the unnecessary pain or suffering to animals. Despite this act, the government continued its mass killings of stray dogs. In 1993, the government admitted that its stray dog program was a failure, since both rabbit deaths and the stray dog population had increased. Nearly a decade later, the government amended the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act with the Animal Birth Control Rules in 2001. The rules also made it illegal for municipal officials to kill stray dogs.
Animal Welfare Board, they have a system where they have issued grants for people looking after cattle, or a small animal grant which will help sterilize cats and dogs. However, very few of these grants are given out because the grants have to be approved by the panchayats and the municipalities. Now they themselves are the people for the last 10 years who've done nothing. Sterilization is the only way ahead, otherwise we'll end up like what is happening in Kerala now and in many parts of the world. In Kerala, you're being given 300 rupees to bring a dead dog in. So that is the solution. And in Goa, it's already started happening. We've got, since the new year, 30 cases of poisoning. So sterilization is the only answer, but again, the government has to be involved, and there has to be a proper setup.
Sterilization has produced results. States such as Sikkim is rabies-free after all its strays have been neutered thanks to a successful government-run sterilization program, while others such as Pune and Jaipur have also witnessed successful sterilization programs.
Dr. Jack Reese has been doing work in Jaipur for I don't know how many years. I've known him 20 years. So he's been in India at least 20 years, okay? He's outstanding in the work that he has done there. I went to Jaipur and I counted 8 dogs in the 5 days that I was there, okay? I counted 8 dogs as we went touring, so I was actually not working. But we did and I found 8 dogs, fat, happy, all right? You cannot tell me that it doesn't work. You have to be patient and you have to participate. You have to help. If you're going to be completely sitting there waiting for somebody else to take care of the problem, correct? Today, I can tell you for a fact that most of the puppies that come to me for rehoming, the little ones, come from a house. The dog in that house has not been operated. It has mated and had babies, and they don't want them, and they're calling me. I rarely am picking up puppies from the street. So you're not contributing. I mean, you're contributing to the problem, you're not solving the problem. So please don't complain if you're not going to at least do the minimum, which is operate your own dog. I mean, that, to me, I believe it works. I believe if enough people get involved and are interested, it works. I truly believe in it. I mean, what are we going to go back to, the barbarism of shooting them or poisoning them? Are we going to do a Kerala type of solution? Kerala didn't solve anything. Kerala is going to be in exactly the same situation within 5 years. It never works. So what they've done is just a murderous, big blot on their soul, and that's the only thing that they've done. They haven't solved anything.
Under this program, stray dogs are surgically neutered and then replaced in their own areas. Since territories are not left vacant, new dogs cannot enter. Mating and breeding also cease, with no mating or crossing of territories. Dogfights reduce dramatically. Since fighting reduces, bites to humans also become rare. The dogs are immunized, so they do not spread rabies. Over time, as the dogs die of natural deaths, their numbers dwindle.
One incident that keeps playing in my mind time and again was when one day we were on our way to college and we see, right in the middle of the road, an injured dog struggling to move while traffic continued to move around it. We immediately stopped the car at the side of the road, got out and rushed to help the dog. We moved the dog to the side of the road while the rest of the traffic continued to pass. Not a single car or person bothering to stop. And I started to think, why was this so? And what makes people so different that they are just a few that help and care?
Animal cruelty comes in many forms. Animal cruelty can be physical, can be mental, and it can be emotional. So you take an animal, for example, and you don't feed it properly. Don't treat it when it has a sore or it has a hair problem. You continue to just ignore the physical needs of that animal, whether it's that it needs a bath, that it has too many ticks, that it shouldn't be in the sun, it should have water. Those are the physical things. Now, the mental things are these games that people play with dogs. Dogs are very simple. They live in the present. They remember the past and they learn from it. But you will never see a dog holding a grudge.
Animal cruelty can come in many forms. One is obviously the very obvious one, which is if somebody's beating a dog or a cat, or but then there's also a lot of subtle cruelty that we have to keep an eye out for. So, for example, somebody's kept a bird in a small cage for a very long time, or sometimes people tie a very tight rope around a cow's neck, things like that. That is also cruelty, and we have to look out for long-term abuse as well.
What I would consider animal cruelty, another person will not consider animal cruelty. The third person will not consider the levels of animal cruelty from what we are completely different. If you observe the younger children, if your dog's whining and your puppy's whining, they'll say, oh my God, look at the puppy, he wants something, the puppy wants something, mama, the puppy wants something. Why is your puppy crying? You must be a very bad person to see that your puppy's crying and you're not taking the puppy in your arms and kissing it. You must be a very bad person. So kids and the same mentality of that group will see animal cruelty as something very extreme, compared to the other side where I have taken this dog off the street and I have given him food, given him water, given him a property to be in and a job to do, which means protect my house. So keep him outside my house, give him this. Someone else would come and say, I'm being perfect, I'm being rational, and I would say, that's great, you're doing your part, you're doing absolutely great, you've taken a stray off the street and you've done that. Someone would come and say, look at this dog, look at those people, they've kept that dog outside, they're not even touching that dog and they're feeding him scraps. What sick people. So animal cruelty literally is a very subjective perspective subject.
A puppy, we still have him, his name is Tarzan. Tarzan because he was thrown into a drum of tar hot tub, and the tub was the drum was kicked down and sent rolling down the road. But a lot of rescue callers contacted us, and we managed to get him on time. It took about a week with kerosene to take off all of that tub, but he was really just a black wooden he looked like a black wooden dog because he was stiff, he was just stuck with tub. So it took a lot of time and effort, and the pup couldn't even cry, he couldn't eat, so we kind of had to feed him with a dropper because he couldn't open his mouth because he was, full of tub. But now he's a happy strutting dog, he's running around, he's fine.
We had more subtle cruelty. We had a case where people had chained a dog to a second floor balcony for 8 years. This dog had only been out 3 times in its life for a walk. So, and yet, in a very strange way, they actually loved the dog. I actually got the dog rehomed in a very subtle way, because that's the best way. If you go in head on, then they're like, it's my dog, go away. So I said, we can give it a garden, a better life, and you can visit the dog when you want. So then they agreed. Of course, they never visited, but that's a subtle cruelty as well, which is there.
In my opinion, there are three kinds of people who will always exist in any walk of life. The ones where, while driving on the road, they see a puppy and they stop the traffic. They stop the car, they stop the traffic, they say everyone stop, they take the puppy, put it off the road, and then they drive. They will always exist. The second type is the person who does not really hate, he's neutral, he doesn't hate the dogs, he doesn't love animals, he knows they're part of our society and I do not want to run over it, so I will go around it. He will go around it. He doesn't even look back to see what happens next. He will always exist. If you tell him, sorry buddy, you've got to stop the traffic and you've got to take that dog out, he'll say, I don't have that kind of time and I don't know how to touch the dog. I don't know how to deal with that dog, so I don't know what to do. He will always exist. And the third person is a probable truck driver or a rash driver who will see a puppy and say, haha, and run over that dog. And he'll say, good job, he tells himself either that or he says, I don't really care, why is he on the road? He will always exist. You cannot tell these people, you can try to change one person, but there'll be more who exist. These three people are part of our society, they will always be there and we have to accept them because these three people are the balance. The length of year to year, but then you have the extremes. The extreme people are the ones who, for lots of reasons, enjoy seeing animals and dogs hurt. They get a thrill out of it. They are a very small percentage, a very tiny percentage. They are the same percentage as humans who kill serial killers and murderers and who do it for pleasure. There are people who kill for pleasure. They enjoy seeing lives going, but they're just a fraction of the percentage. They also exist, it's just how they are. So they put crackers in dogs' mouth and they burst and we say, how bad are people? No, people aren't bad. Those few are bad. And there's laws against it and they should be arrested and they should be punished for it, severely. But that doesn't make the majority. We are still 3 categories. There's always the odd one out.
For example, the person that drives by, the second category. See, those people, I always believe you can tell them once. Now there's social media is very, very huge. It's a very powerful tool. And we've actually put posts up where we've said that, look, these dogs, these cats, these cows are on the streets because of us, right? Because whatever, we've neglected to make sure our cows are at home at night or the dogs are not sterilized. So if you explain to the person that would swerve around that dog and say, look, this needs help, even if 1 out of 50 you succeed, that's you've got somewhere. But no, I feel people need to be told.
And I've said it, you have to train and teach and try. That's what y'all are doing. You're trying to educate people. At the same time, you have to accept the fact, just accept the fact that the other people are going to exist. But you have to do your part. The biggest sin is not doing your part. That's a crime.
Even though things are still bad, when I started 20 years ago, it was really bad. It was like really bad. And it has taken the example of NGOs running around, picking up animals, operating, putting back, that people have learned. When I first started, there was actually, if I walked in Margao, I would see mothers, pregnant mothers, I'd see mothers with babies, I'd see dogs with broken, dangling legs. Nobody called anyone, nothing. I went to one of my relatives' house and they had a big male cat, Buklo, big. And he had a huge injury on his leg. And I was horrified. So I asked, where is the medical doctor? And they're all looking at me like, he's not going to look at it. No, I said, I want a vet. I want a veterinary, a doctor for, there's this one guy. And there was this one guy on the main road, okay? I put the cat in a carry-all, because I had come to visit. So I put him in my handbag, zipped him in there, and I took him. Literally, I'm walking around so that, so his head's sticking out, you zip it up and leave his head out so he can breathe and all that. And I'm walking around with this, and people are laughing at me. They thought I was crazy. Compared to that today, I get a call any time of the day or night. There's a dog injured. Is there anything you can do? Can you send a van? Can you do this? So things have improved tremendously. But what has not improved is the getting personally involved. The calling, and it's your problem, and you fix it, is there. But the situation where the person himself or herself would get involved is still only a small percentage, I would say, do that. A lot of it is by example. I think it's seeing people doing rescues, fixing a dog, a cow. Today you see all those videos on Facebook of people rescuing a cow, and there was a calf under a car in Ponda. You saw all that, and they lifted I think it was Ponda, I don't know, someplace. They lifted the whole car, got the little baby out. The mother was hysterical. I can tell you, even 10, 15 years ago, nobody would have done that. But today, through the videos, through the examples, through the stories, people are learning. They are learning, they're improving. I think education in the schools is a must. I think going and talking to students, but not just lectures, not lecturing at them, but interactive things. Little kids, they touch a puppy, they touch a cat, a rabbit, anything. When we do puppy camps, many times we let the kids want to see the puppies, and the parents don't want them because they're afraid that they'll be forced to take a puppy home. And I always say, no, you come. It's free. There's no pressure at all. And you should see those children sometimes. They pick these small babies up, and they're like, they can't believe it, Then there's the one that's scared and is going, finally touches it, but it's really, really, really afraid. And they're learning. That's the next generation. And my hope is always the next generation, teaching the next generation.
A popular misconception by society today is that strays are the cause of all animal attacks, but a study of dog bite cases conducted at a hospital in Kerala last year showed 75% of the patients had been bitten by pet dogs, and only a quarter of them had actually been caused by strays. A 2013 study in 13 Tamil Nadu schools found that pet dogs are accounted for more than half of the dog bites suffered by students. Animal behaviourist Mr. Gautam Kari gave us reason behind the same, and also willingly let us accompany him in learning about the most common problems and misunderstandings prevailing between humans and dogs.
When puppies are in a litter, they nip each other. Puppies, a dog's mouth is like our hand, so they keep nipping each other. And if you observe a litter, they would bite their brothers or sisters, and the other one would squeal, a loud squeal, ah! And that would give a message across. How much can I do? What can I do? That's their social network. They learn puppy nipping in a litter, and vice versa. They get bit, so they know how much and what. Now, when we take a dog from a litter, whether it's a stray litter or from the pound, or from a shop, these puppies are removed before 3 months old, before they've learned how to socialize with their own siblings, their own breed, their own with other dogs, and then they're brought into a human world. Now, in a human world, they're going to do the same process, except we are not going to squeal and show them what to do. So the first education they get is how much can I bite, what's biteable, like how we want to feel things. Dogs want to feel what's biteable, what this tastes like and what this texture feels like. So our hands are the first thing they're gonna go for. Our shoes, our jeans, legs, ankles, laces, clothes, anything they can get their hands on. If this is not corrected, then the nipping leads to biting, because the first time a young dog goes rah rah, stay away from me, our reaction is step back, and they realize that works. So now they're going to do it more, and if he keeps stepping back, this is a simple message to any animal in the kingdom, that if I snap, or if I growl, if I just need to snap in the air, for example, just like that, people move back. So the first thing I do with any dog, the safest thing I do with my 3 dogs, is I show them no biting. The minute they hold my hand, there are ways of teaching a dog no biting. With the minute they hold your hand, I say, hey, no biting, hey, no biting. They learn this. Then we tell them before they even think about it. When they're coming to you, they're coming, hey, no biting, and all right. So this is how we teach them. The strays, on the other hand, bite for complete different reasons. They it's the alpha, it's the territorial, and it's the way their structure of life they need to be protected, because over there it's flight or flight, it's adrenaline. People are gonna harm them. Some won't, some will. They do not know the difference. So many of them are genetically fearful, genetically cautious. They haven't observed enough, and they've just realized that if I bark and I scare them away, that's good. If they come near me, most probably I'm going to get hurt or taken away, like my friends and my brothers and sisters did. So I'm going to bite. But they have the liberty of running away. Since they're in the open, they can run away. So the few cases, pregnant dogs, injured dogs, starving dogs, sick dogs, if they get threatened, then as any animal, including a snake, would do, they would bite you, not for fun, but they would bite you as a protective mechanism. Whereas pet dogs are just taught the wrong way. So more bites from pet dogs are going to be obvious. I observed a litter of 5 dogs, and a different area I observed a litter of 7 dogs, 7 pups. So I first heard these 5 pups and 7 pups squealing and whining in the thickets. I went up to see what they're doing, and they were all by themselves. There was no one there. So they were covered up. You could just hear noises. They were completely camouflaged. So I went up to them and I saw them. There were 5 of them. I looked around. There were just 5. No mom, no one, no adult dogs over there. And I left. Came back the next day. I saw there were 5 of them, 7 of them. I kept coming every 3 days. They kind of moved out from the thickets onto the roads, onto places where they could sniff around. There were times when I saw 4 and 5. There were times I saw 3 and all 7. So it kept changing, but every 2 days, every week, they were back to 5 and 7. So they always stayed at 5 and 7. I realized that the mom has gone out to get food for these pups. In the meantime, one of them is going to go astray, and and come back. The mom's going to come back with the food. She's going to call the kids, and all of them are going to come back to her, and they're going to eat, and then they're going to stay safe. She's going to teach them what to do. They also learn by themselves. But when their nose starts working, they start going towards garbage. So you get a few dogs that goes towards foods to try out things. That's how pups work. That's how babies work. Every animal does that. The mom will protect them. Now, unfortunately, most of the time, what we humans who love pets and we want to take care of every pup, we'll see that pup which is a stray, and he'll be all by himself, and we'll pick him up and put him into an NGO and say this pup is all by himself. This is most of the time when both these experiments actually showed that the pups grew up healthy and they grew up in a pack, and they formed adult packs. They formed a whole adult pack in just 6 to 8 months without having any human intervening. So there were questions asked to me about what if you find a pup far away or in a bag tied up and kept. There was one lady who told me that there were a bag was put up and she opened it in the middle of the field and she found 5 pups in there. So those pups obviously had to be kept in an NGO. If you think about it, if you have 5 puppies outside your house and you don't want them, but you're a good guy, so you want to take all of them together and put them somewhere else, because they'll just get beaten up by people in your society, what would you do? You would gather them up, probably put them in a bag or a basket, and keep them in the closest area around the place where they were made. Now, anywhere within a 1 kilometer radius is very easy for the mom to find them. So these pups are actually put, and you're not going to walk from North Goa to South Goa, drive there. You're going to keep them in the closest open area where it's very easy for the mom to find them. So try that as the first resort rather than separating a pup from the rest of its litter and putting it in an NGO. Try observing it for a few days. I'm sure you'll be fine. This is most of the cases. There would definitely be some case where the mom is killed and the pups are abandoned. So observe first rather than just being a good Samaritan and picking that pup up. Observe first. I would very, very strongly recommend that. Observe for 3 days. In 3 days, you'll know exactly what happened. Feed the pup if you have to. Just keep the pup going. But 3 days, observe.
I took her out once, and I guess she was not very, what was it you told us? It was not, she wanted to be left alone, so she just snapped at her. She didn't bite her, she just snapped in the air.
Yeah. How old was she?
A couple of weeks back.
So when a bond between a child and a dog is forced
It's okay.
by the parents, that's
No. She willingly went out.
Yeah.
With me.
Yeah. So after that, there's
After
always
that, she's got this fear.
correct. So then after that, there's always been, come, let's talk. She will come. So and so come. There's you were making an effort to mix them up. So a bond can never be forced afterwards. Okay. It has to come naturally.
I always was scared, like thinking that she would probably be very aggressive towards me. So I always stayed away from her. I never gave her the love that she, make her feel like one of us. So I used to always stay away from her. But ever since Gautam has come into this house, things have just totally changed. Totally changed. I find her like one of us. I used to just stay away from her. I never liked her, never liked her.
This dog's genetics is guarding the house. As long as she knows she's guarding the house. So far, what's been happening is she's been guarding the house and she's been barking and trying to tell Myron and everyone that there's someone outside. And the result is that she gets tied up. So yesterday she came in and she sat down with everyone. She behaved in front of everyone. She said, I'm going to be a good girl. I'm going to behave. I'm going to be nice to the kid. I'm going to be nice to y'all. And then she got tied up. So these absolutely go against animal psychology. When they are trying to make you happy, you've got to reward them. So today what we're doing is, I've come in, we've taken you out. For being quiet, I've rewarded you. So a Kong is a chewy toy which has treats stuffed in it, but it's hard to get out. So the dog has to, it's like foraging for his food. He has to problem solve. When a dog starts problem solving, the first time he got this toy, like about 20 minutes ago, he could smell their treats in there. I've layered it with cheese so that the whole toy by itself is unpleasant, but the actual treats are inside. And she could smell the treats, but she didn't know where's the smell coming from. Now she got one taste of it, so she knows there's yummy stuff inside it. So she's gonna be there for hours trying to remove those treats. And Kongs are designed in such a way that you can't remove them easily. Your tongue goes in, and see the tongue's going in, she's trying. She'll eventually realize that if she squeezes the toy and turns her head, it's gonna fall down. And she will realize it. I just hope it takes a couple of years. But nevertheless, when you have a Kong in your mouth and you're chewing, your association with everything around you becomes positive. Like guests have come in, but I've got a Kong. So that means when guests come, I'm going to get this Kong. So the trick is to remove it when you're leave. Do you understand? So she starts loving people. When if she has to come out and sit quietly, the Kong doesn't get removed. If she's troublesome, the Kong gets removed. Yeah? Then negative punishment. Negative means you remove something to punish her. So if she's misbehaving, I'll remove the Kong, and that's negative punishment. She greeted y'all and came back. You realize that? Without jumping on y'all. She greeted each and every one of y'all. Even once y'all sat down, she greeted you and then she sat down. That's ideal. I didn't have to train her to do this. All I needed to do was give her a Kong before y'all entered. Tools, training tools. That's all it takes. So if you do this every day before guests come in, the next time you don't have it, she will follow the procedure. Greet everyone and come and sit down. And come and sit, not trouble everyone. Training tools. So simple, right?
It's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. If you put an old person and you put a baby on the side of the road, most people will worry about the baby and forget about the old man or or old lady. And this is the same situation with puppies. The puppy is so cute, so adorable, so it looks so friendly, non-menacing. So you will naturally rotate towards the puppy. In my case, I'm extremely sensitive to abandoned pets because it's really the worst thing that you could have done. These dogs have served you well, maybe have grown up with, helped you raise your child, helped you with security, done whatever they needed to do for you that you wanted. They've been your companion. They become old. They now can't guard as well. They can't see as well. Maybe they're getting fussy about eating. Maybe their immune system's down, so they're getting hair problems. When the dog needs you the most, instead of stepping up, you actually throw them out. So to me, I'm very much for abandoned pets because they have known a home. They don't know how to fend for themselves. They don't know how to feed themselves. They don't know how to defend themselves. And a lot of them die because they don't know traffic. So what could possibly make you think that a living creature that is giving you their best years can now be put, at the beach, at the market, anywhere, so that those dogs that protect their area will attack it, right? That's the first thing that happens. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable animal cruelty. Because have the guts, if you have such disdain or such disregard, then have the guts to go and put that animal down. Literally go and get, like they wanted Beather to do, go and get a vet and tell the vet, put this dog down, I don't want it anymore, it's old. Do it. Oh no, what would God say? As if God doesn't see what you just done. Correct? Am I wrong? That's exactly how they think. Oh, I would never take a life. You've just thrown this dog to a horrible end on the streets. You have killed that dog, and you've killed it much worse. I've had horrible fights with people over that. And they cannot connect with the fact that they have just as much killed that dog as if they would have been more humane to put it down than what they had just done. It's one of my, it can really make me angry. He came to us maybe now about 3 weeks ago. A girl named Ocean found him and was feeding him on the side of the road for some time. But he had severe sores. These were all sores open on his legs and all over the place. He's an abandoned pet. He loves to be with humans. He loves to be petted. There's nothing better than getting a bath. He doesn't behave like a stray. So he's an abandoned pet. Usually you will find a lot of people when the animals get older, 10, 11 years old, which is the time when they truly need their owners. Most owners fail the test. And many times we find an older dog like him will be put on the street and they will get a new puppy and they will start all over again with no concern about the fact that he cannot take care of himself because he doesn't know how to get food, he doesn't know how to defend himself, because he's probably been in a sofa or that kind of environment. He's extremely friendly, loves people, just loves people.
Webster's defines a dog as a highly variable domestic animal that is closely related to the grey wolf. Asking us now, we'd say a dog is a companion animal, a loyal and intelligent species that we can no longer do without. But now I ask you, how would you define them? What do you see them as? A part of the society where humans and animals coexist? Or one where they are treated differently? Would you stop your car, drive by, or drive over the dog? Which category do you fall in? Because ultimately, the choice is yours.
When I get back on